There you go.
And
We are now
thank
live.
you.
We are
Okay,
live.
so I don't see the chat. So let me know if there's anybody that has
Oh,
any questions.
of course, I will do. Yes. So, hello, good morning or good evening in your case, Becky. How are you?
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm doing I'm doing great. I wasn't prepared. Hello.
You well, you weren't prepared because I made I confused things, didn't I, by getting days mixed up because you see it's evening where you are, but it's actually
Yes.
5 a.m. where I am. So yeah, we got it all a little bit confused, but we get there in the
We'll
end.
make we'll make it work. We'll make
Yeah,
it work.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing today, or what are you doing today specifically?
Um, you know, I normally do beading. I do some beading. I do some acrylic pour with wood. Um, uh-oh. I think I knocked my shelf down.
Oops.
Yep. Oopsie. Oh well, it fell. I do a lot of the acrylic pour. So normally what I'll do is I'll start off with some odd shape piece of wood, exotic wood. I normally do exotic wood, whatever shape it happens to break in, and then I'll encase it in with the acrylic, and then I do a lot of sanding. So this ends up looking. I end up making pendants, and I wish I had one of my pendants here, but I normally just give them away to my friends, to my like this one. This is one that I started. I didn't like the color, so um, I didn't like the way the color came out. Um, I also do a lot, like I said, I do a lot of seed beads. Um,
So you're one of these people that is actually good at sort of making things, whereas me, I'm not so good.
well, um, when they say I'm a jack of all trades and master of none,
Yeah,
that's me. That's
fair
me.
enough.
I like I really like working with wood. Um,
Yeah,
this was from a table that was given to me, and it had been handed down generation after generation. And my girlfriend gave me this table. That meant a lot to her because she was remodeling her home. So when she had the table, she decided it was too tall. So she cut it. She cut the legs off, and she gave it to me. She was like, "Just take care of it." So what I decided to do is take one of the legs and make it into a letter opener because she can never find her letter opener. So I just need to finish polishing it. It's almost finished. After I finish polishing it, I do a lot of carving. So it went from, and this is hardwood. This is like a really hardwood. I end up polishing it, and it's more of a here's your table, but never lose. It's kind of like a gag joke because she's always losing her letter opener.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's something that means a lot to her because this was part of the table that was passed on from her family.
And you
So
carved that, did you? Did you say?
yes, I carved it. I carved it, and then um, it's kind of like my sewing. I have two sewing machines, and yet I always end up sewing by hand. It's just the rhythm of this. I don't know. I get into these rhythms where, your brain is not really thinking. It's a lot of mindfulness. I guess that's what it's called today, mindfulness. I get into that, and I just start creating um, with my beads. I never know what I'm going to end up making. These are a little bigger than what I normally work with. I normally work with very tiny beads, but I figure you wouldn't be able to see them in the project. So let's see what we can get creative with at the last minute. Again, sorry guys, I didn't plan it. Um, I was
No,
busy.
don't you apologise. I should apologise. I didn't.
No, no, no,
I,
no.
I didn't make it very clear. It's weird because, like I say, it's Saturday where you are, but it's Sunday where I am. So
Yes.
no wonder there's a
Well,
little bit of confusion.
I guess you get to see the creative process, the mental messiness that is my brain. If you guys haven't seen it yet, my brain is a complete mess half of the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I understand. Mine's the same. I
you
have
too.
to I have to pull myself together just to come across as human a lot of the time. To be fair.
But I think that's what makes us unique, you know.
Well,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
it,
I'm going to be doing some paracord bracelets.
okay. How fast
So
do those get work? Do they work pretty fast?
I could I can make well in an hour I could make 7 or 8 probably easily.
Oh wow. Oh,
Um,
so they work pretty quickly. Let me see
yeah,
what you're doing.
it is pretty simple to be fair. Um,
Okay.
so what I want to do is I actually want to order myself some goldenrod paracord at some point so that I can make
Oh,
some
okay.
gold goldenrod paracord bracelets. That's my goal. I've got some on my channel. I've got what am I thinking of? Amazon wish list. So I'm hoping that with that, I will be. I'm going to save and get some goldenrod, and then I'm going to make a bunch of goldenrod bracelets and send them out to people that want them. That's the goal.
I think that'll be great. Um, I don't know who's the one that send us. They send them through Jay. There were some bracelets. I have one inside, and they had, they were beaded bracelets. Some of them said, "Es una secta." It's a cult.
Yeah,
Um, and Jay had given me quite a few. He gave me like a little bag, and I pass those out, and they love them. People because you see, I talk to people every day, whether I'm going to the doctor, whether I'm going to wherever it may be. I somehow always manage to bring up the Church of Scientology, and I managed to get the info out. One way or another, kind of sliding it in there, and then I'll
yeah,
give them my bracelets. I'll have my bracelets, and if they sound interested, then I'll just take it off and give them to them. So I think what you're trying to do is a great idea.
yeah. I mean, if you see this big roll here of 100 meters of paracord, okay, this costs like £10 or £11, something like that. It's nothing. It's not high
Oh,
quality
okay.
paracord or anything like that, but it costs like £10 or £11. And from that, I can make probably close to 100 bracelets. Well, no, I'd say close to like 50 or 60 maybe, potentially. And so Crepidus, yes, watch closely, and I will try to explain as I go. It's surprisingly easy, but it might just be a little bit fiddly to get used to. So what I've done, just so you all know, is I've just measured out the the length that I want for my wrist. So essentially that
Okay.
middle bit there. See the middle set of
I
cords because
see that. Yeah.
this is all wrapped around So there's multiple types you can use. You can put clasps on there. I've got
Mm-hmm.
clasps here which have a compass, and also it has a, I'll show you this. Let's get it going. Come on, work. Hasn't been used before, so there you go. Look, you see.
Mm.
For those survivalists amongst you, there it is. There you go.
That's for when you're going camping
Yeah.
or out
Don't know
in
if
the
it's,
wilderness.
they're not the highest of quality, but it will work eventually. But anyway, yeah, you get the point. You can cause a
Mm-hmm.
spark and what have you, and then you can make. So using this, you can attach a paracord thing, and you can make lanyards for holding things, for example. There's all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of stuff you can do, and also if you look at these tools here, that's like a needle. But it's a weird needle because what you have to do is you have to melt the end of the paracord and essentially
Okay, yeah.
screw it into the end
Oh,
of
okay.
the needle there, and then you can run different colors through whatever you want to do, really. I haven't used those very often, but I mean to at some point, and I will get it done eventually.
So do you use the fire starter as the clasp on it?
Yeah, so if you see, it's got a compass on there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's got a whistle, survival whistle, and then of course it's got the fire starter thing. But for some reason, this one isn't
Yeah,
working
yeah, yeah.
as well. Um, I've got it's magnesium,
Yeah.
magnesium and steel.
My dad used to carry like a pencil sharpener, you know, those I don't know, there was some metal pencil sharpeners, and he
Yeah,
used to just scrape it off. And then that's how he would start the fire, if I remember correctly.
yeah, yeah. There's loads of ways you can do it. I mean, in my
Yeah.
survival kit, I have a pencil sharpener, and what I do is get a little stick, sharpen
Mm-hmm.
sharpen the stick, get rid of all the. I guess what you're doing is you're taking away all of the what do they call it now? Yeah, yeah, you're basically making yourself tinder to start the
Tinder.
fire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the
which is
Kindle, or
probably,
what do they call it? Yeah.
yeah, that's basically what that is all about. So
That brought back memories because I do remember him kind of like scraping it, and he would scrape it off. But no, it
yeah,
was the metal that he would use. It was the metal that he would use, and he would just scrape off the metal,
yeah,
and he would get like a bunch of pine needles and stuff.
yeah,
And then before you knew it, it was the man was so brilliant. He was great. But back then they didn't call it survivalist. They just called it life. We did that quite a bit here in LA. Believe it or not, we did once upon a time have open fields where he used to go hunting. He
yeah.
hunted quite a few deer.
I also have some flint and steel, which I use, which is the
Oh,
old
is that what it's called?
Well, no, this is different. This is magnesium, but I also have flint and steel, which is piece of flint stone, and it's I learned recently that it's actually the flintstone that breaks off the little shards of metal, which causes the spark.
Yeah.
I expected it would be the other way round, but no, it's not. It's the flintstone itself which causes the bit shards of metal to break off, and that causes the spark, which is quite handy.
Well, we used to get that stuff in the surplus store. You know, the military surplus store.
Yeah, yeah.
Gosh, I haven't seen one around here in such a long time. I don't even know where one is now. But we used to go to the surplus store all the time for all of the camping stuff. Oh, this one is already waxed. I don't think I need to wax it. Sorry, guys. I'm a hot mess. But we're gonna get this started. Um, I am, as you know, Mexican, and Day of the Dead is coming up in November.
Day of the
So
Dead. That's
yes,
that's an amazing holiday, which I would love to
yes.
come and
Oh
visit
yeah.
Mexico for one day. That sounds amazing. I love the
I'm from.
I
Hmm.
love I love the colours. You know, the colours that you have over there.
It's a very bright. Um, yeah, it's a very bright uh color scheme,
Yeah,
and that's to attract our ancestors. So, you know, the movie Coco pretty much explained it. And, you know, normally Disney doesn't get it right, but they did a wonderful job with that movie Coco.
yes. I remember there was my son actually. He loved a movie about the Day of the Dead, and it was I can't remember the name of it, but it might have been that one you just mentioned.
Yeah, Coco. Um, it really, now it's celebrated on a around Mexico on a much different scale, and now you see it all over the world. But we always had the altars. It's a 7 step altar.
Yeah,
Um, we put out the foods, we put up the pictures, the candles, and that's celebrated on November 2nd, actually, because November 1st is, um, we celebrate, it's, let's see, November 1st is All Saints Day. And
yeah.
that's when the children that have passed are celebrated on All Saints Day. And then November 2nd is the actual Day of the Dead.
So
And
it's more of a celebration then, is it, than anything else?
it's a celebration. You're celebrating. You don't want to forget your ancestors. My grandparents on my mother's side were what is known as Huasteca land, from Michoacan, Mexico. Purepecho. It's called Purepecho
Hmm.
um, natives. So I do have native in me. Um, Many of my recipes, um, they come from golly, generations. In Michoacan, they still cook very traditional pre-Hispanic food.
Yeah.
Um, the way that we used to cook out when we would go camping, um, I really enjoyed it. You know, it was very, I guess, survivalist is what you would call it now. Um, we never took like a barbecue grill. I just remember all of a sudden we would be by the riverbed, and before you knew it, mom and dad would have built a, um, you know, like a pit,
Yeah.
and they would start cooking out there. And like I said, now people call it survivalist. We just would have a lot of fun with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like to go out. I mean, to be honest, because of my anxiety and my
Mm-hmm.
depression and everything else, I don't go out as much as I should. But I like to go out and make a little fire,
Mm-hmm.
controlled fire, should I say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somewhere out the way, make a nice cup of tea, and just sit there and enjoy a cup of tea. So I like coffee, but I'd prefer tea.
You
If
prefer
I make
to.
Yeah, if I make coffee, I hand grind the beans. 'Cause I take a little
Mm,
hand grinder with me,
mm-hmm.
but I got my cup of tea to wake me up.
I'm laughing because um from time to time I'll just take the coffee grounds and we make café de olla, which is just you put the ground coffee and you actually brew it on the stove, you boil it and
Yeah, yeah.
you add what is in essence sugar cane. Just plain old raw sugar cane that comes in. It's called piloncillo. It's also called panocha, which a lot of people think it's a bad word, but no, it's not. It's actually the raw sugar, and that's 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 what I made out here in LA. I made café de olla, and it's just a very simple way of cooking.
I,
I
I
enjoyed it. It reminds me of my mom.
you're you're making me feel hungry and thirsty. Yeah, I love learning about new cultures. So
Do you normally, so when you're making tea, do you make it straight from the plant, the flower, or whatever it is that you're using for it?
I
Or do you
can
do,
I can do.
oh,
So I have a number of different teas, but the one I drink most of is just standard Yorkshire tea, which is English brand. It's
mm-hmm.
basically just good quality strong tea. Um, but I also have Indonesian tea, which my girlfriend's from Indonesia,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's done, um, raw leaves. No tea bag or anything like that. Um, so that's always nice. But that's done with honey.
Mm-hmm.
Have that with honey, and that's very nice. It's got an unusual flavour to it, which is it's very good.
That's like we never had tea bags at home.
Yeah,
I used to grind my own beans, but I have become lazy about a Keurig. Yes, Keurig spoil you. They really do.
yeah,
I had my mom always grew the tea that we drank. So that's how that was really the only way that I know how to make my tea. I mean, obviously with the tea bags, but what's the chamomile tea? We always had the little flowers growing in the backyard. The lemongrass. Have you ever had lemongrass tea?
yeah, yeah. I've had all
Yeah,
sorts of stuff. I can't remember
yeah,
most of them, but
because you see, when I brought it out to LA, it's just a very traditional tea to me. And I was surprised that not many people had it out here.
mm,
Jay, if I remember correctly, said he never had it. Aja loved it. And it was just, I have lemongrass growing here in my yard. I have lemongrass and I just cut it and I make my tea that way. Same with my spices. Same with with my herbs and spices. I grow my herbs and spices because that's what I was taught. I was taught to grow them. I don't know, I never really thought about, it seems silly to me, I guess, to, to go and buy herbs and teas when I can grow them here. You go to the grocery store and it's what, mm, $2, $3 for like a tiny little bit of the herbs. And here I just go to my yard and I cut them. I also have the laurel tree. Not laurel. What is it? Oh yeah, laurel. I also grow my own laurel.
So my girlfriend has a few little herbs growing in the garden as well. It's if it's something you've done from an early age, something your parents have taught you, then absolutely fine.
Hmm.
Sir Crepidus was saying that you make some amazing traditional enchiladas. I'd love to know more about.
Oh, those enchiladas were an adventure for Sir Crepidus. Thank you very much. Real enchiladas are different from what most Americans are used to. Yes. So when Cheryl and Dusty and everyone was here, we 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 made enchiladas. I prepared the sauce with um, Mrs. Secrepitus and Secrepitus. We were trying to build the fire outside and make them in the disc in a very traditional disc. Um, but Secrepitus is fancy, fancy, and the disc just wouldn't. It wasn't working. We were trying. Like again, we're very um traditional the way I how can I explain it? Um,
You like to do
we're
things the
just
right way.
we're just not fancy like that. We're not fancy. Like I said, we would just make as long as I have a source of fire, I'm able to cook. It doesn't matter. Um, but I was trying to make them outside, make them really traditional. Um, and then finally, the fire kept going off. We just couldn't get the fire going. We were trying to make it in a barrel pit, but it didn't have enough air flowing, and because the disc would kind of sit on top of the barrel, and he has very nice barrels. Didn't get an. Didn't get. Oh, I needed you closer to the. No, it wasn't your fault. It was not your fault, Sir Crepitus. It was just I don't think I could really explain to him um, how the disc sat. So we just went inside and I made enchiladas on top of the stove. We don't put them in the oven. Actually, our enchiladas are made with very simple ingredients. It's potatoes, carrots, and longaniza, which is a form of sauce that's a Mexican spicy sausage.
Hmm.
And then you just kind of boil the potatoes, the longaniza, you take it out of its casing, and then you fry it. You cook it, and then you add it to the potatoes, to the diced potatoes and carrots, and that's the mixture for the inside of the enchilada. The
Hmm.
actual sauce, homemade sauce, is we get our chili pods, we clean them, um, we blend them, and then we mix in our spices and whatever is going into the enchilada sauce. Again, it's a very simple sauce. You get the tortilla, you warm up your corn tortilla, you run it very quickly through the oil. Well, first you warm up the tortilla, you dip it in the sauce, you run it through the oil very quickly, and then you take it out and you roll it in with the stuffing. And then you put it around. Normally it goes around the disc, and the disc all the way around is where you cook the enchilada. So they come out crispy. Enchiladas are usually crispy in where I'm from. You serve it on top of a leaf of lettuce, and voila. So it's a very, very simple food. It Dusty seemed to like it. Jerry liked it once he got it hot off the grill. You have to have them hot off the grill.
I'm extremely jealous because we don't we don't have Mexican food in this country very often, and when we do, I
Really?
don't think it's anywhere near traditional.
Well, um, either you come here or I go over there. I love to cook.
Oh yeah, you're welcome
Um,
here anytime. We had Samuel, the SP chef, come and visit recently.
oh, he did? He
Yeah,
visited you?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice. I missed that one.
yeah. He came to
I
visit.
missed it. Oh, I'm so jealous.
He's lovely. He's such a lovely human being. Absolutely.
Y- y- You can see that in him when he gets so um passionate about his cooking and I heard what one of my subscriber told me you and him should collab. I said, oh my god, I would drive him insane. Um, my way of cooking is just not. He's very measured. He's very professional. You know, me.
he did.
eh-eh.
He did some cooking when he was here. Some
Oh
chefing.
my god. Oh, you see, he's a real chef. I'm just a home cook that learned from my mom. That's how
You
mom and
see,
I would
you
communicate.
see, that's exactly the sort of thing that Samuel would love to learn about because my girlfriend learned from her mum how to cook, and you know, Samuel was learning how to cook traditional Indonesian um, food. So
Food. Oh, that
yeah,
would be.
yeah, it's
I get emotional because mom and I, we never really saw eye to eye. Um, mm, I was always the one bouncing around. I have ADHD that I've been diagnosed with. Back then, it was just called ADD. So I was always the one bouncing around from one place to the other, and my mother was very proper. My mother was sit down, watch her, kind of dress. So I was always the one bouncing. But the one place where mom and I actually could communicate was in the kitchen.
yeah,
So it wasn't, it was our love language. That was the only time that, sorry, it was the only time where I can really actually just talk to her without being lectured of you know, you know,
I know. So
and uh-huh.
I I I am somewhat jealous, honestly, because as I was saying, I
Hmm.
feel I want to experience proper Mexican food, but like I say, you don't get very much of that in this country, so it is a bit frustrating. Whereas you guys, I mean, I guess not so much in California necessarily, but certainly sort of in the Texas area that there's well, in I guess in America in general, there's a lot more Mexican um, people, of
Yes,
course, because you're next door, aren't you? So it's
yes.
obvious, but there's just not many in this country, and the Mexican food you get isn't necessarily anywhere near traditional. So
I would have to teach you.
yeah,
I would have to teach you, and then you can make it very traditional. But you, you're a survivalist, so you would do great with me in the kitchen.
well, you see, we'd have to have a kitchen in the woods somewhere, wouldn't we?
That would be so much fun.
I can
I
do
would
the
have
fire.
to.
I can do the fire and stuff like that because that's about. Oh, I'm burning my fingers. Ow. I can do the fire because I'm
Uh-oh.
useful at that sort of thing, and then you can do all the cooking. Because if I try to do the cooking, I'd probably end up poisoning us.
No. um, I just, again, I think my happiest memories were of my dad and the family. We had quite a bit of trauma growing up. It wasn't. It just was what it was. You know. But one of the ways that we were able to escape reality was again going to the mountains, going to the river. Um, my mom lost 4 kids, so you can imagine the type of trauma she has gone through. And there were days where she was okay, and there were days where she was struggling. But she was always a provider. She was always a fighter. And um, when she would get into those, we would into those moods where she would go into. Well, now we know it's depression. Back then, it was just anxiety. Um, and so Dad would just throw us in the truck and where are we going? Oh, we're going up to the mountains. And we would go up here in Malibu. There's this park, Topanga Park. If you're from LA, you know what I mean. Um, there's a river. Before you knew it, we would be in the river. Mom would be laughing, cooking, and it was just our way of escaping. So to me, nature has always been a very important part. Um,
Mm.
like I said, mom would be very proper all the time. You sit like a lady. You're supposed to drink your tea with your little pinky up. That was just mom. But dad was, kids need to get dirty. Kids need to be outside. Let them be kids. And that was just our escape, was going outdoors. How do you guys like this color scheme? I don't know if you can
Right.
see it.
That looks good.
We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be doing a Day of the Dead. I'm trying to see how it's going to work out. Again, sorry guys, I didn't plan this very well, so we're just going to do stuff on the fly.
When you remind me again, when's Day of the Dead?
November 2nd is the actual Day of the Dead, but a lot of people start celebrating it on the 1st. So on the 1st, what you do is by the 1st, you already have your altar. Maybe I can set up the altar and show it to you guys how we set it up. And we have the traditional flowers. Um, Now I'm trying to remember the flower name, and of course now I can't. Hey, Scientology.
Scientology. Yeah, Scientology. You know who Scientology is, don't you?
I don't remember. What?
Scientology is an amazing person. She does a lot of research into all of the specific technical data and everything else regarding Hub, all that nonsense that Hubbard's wrote.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Sorry, there's so many channels that sometimes I don't even remember my own name.
Yeah. So Scientology is amazing. Absolutely. We're going to do a live at some point, myself and Scientology. So I should. Just burnt myself. Hot plastic. Ow. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that
That's one of the
hurts
down.
because it
That's one
sticks
of the
to you.
downfalls. It's molten plastic sticking to your fingers. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Myself and Scientology. She wants to interview me because of my
Oh, that
history
would be great.
history in the church. My limited history in
What
the church, we say.
What is your history with the church?
Well, I was a Div 6 public. So I was
Oh.
never OSA.
Mhm.
Sorry, never Sea Org or anything like that. But
Mhm.
I was Div 6 public, so I would go in there and do my study and everything else. Now, the weird thing about this is I knew before I even went in the door that they were a cult.
Mhm.
I already knew that,
Oh.
but I wanted to learn for myself and understand it a bit better. So what I used to do is I used to go in there and ask the awkward questions and try and make sense of it, because it just made no sense to me. Um,
Mhm.
and of course, it makes no sense to most people because it's quite frankly a bit batshit crazy. But um, yeah,
So you went into to. I'm sorry. Let me
no,
interrupt. You went.
carry on.
Were you born in, or did you join because you were curious?
Oh no, I joined because I was just interested to learn about it. But
Oh, okay.
so as I say, Div 6, so that's the public side of so members of the public essentially.
Mhm.
So I was never signed any contract or anything like that. But
Okay.
for me, it was just it was an interest thing. It was just a case of I wanted to learn about it. So that's the way to learn, isn't it? You just go in and try and learn.
Mhm.
Um, but they didn't like me very much because I used to wind them up on purpose at times. So um, I used to go into the course rooms, for example, and when I was um, doing my course, when I was learning, I would
Mhm.
hang on, sorry, very important step going on in my brain right now. Yeah, I would do my study, but I would take a little laptop in there with me, like a little netbook at the time, and of
Mhm.
course that's frowned upon. And I would use it to take notes, but the way in which I did it is I would sit at the back of the room so they couldn't see what I was typing
Mhm.
on there. I wasn't typing anything other than just basic notes, but they couldn't see what was on there, so it stressed them out so much. And what was also funny is that when we were when I was doing it, I noticed one day that there was somebody out on the grass behind me, out behind outside of the building, almost
Mhm.
laying on their stomach, trying to look downwards and through the window to see what I was actually doing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I thought was
So,
amusing.
so you were a public.
Yeah, that's right.
Huh. We have a lot of public out here in Inglewood.
Yeah.
And we have quite a few public in there. And Leo, the what's his last name? The one that um Aaron interviewed just recently.
I'm still trying to catch up on certain things, but yeah, carry on.
He did about a 3 hour interview with him, and I found
Yeah,
him
yeah, yeah,
fascinating because he's
yeah.
from Jalisco, and so I reached out to him. I wanted to know I mean, I heard what he told Aaron. But when I'm out here, especially in the Inglewood, it's different. And because I know they're public, so the things that you say over at Big Blue wouldn't really make much sense to tell the people out here. So I
Yeah.
reached out to him because that always confused me, and well, what can I say to them that it's gonna make them perk up their ears? And so he gave me some information, and I'm sorry, I do have slight short-term memory. I
hmm
have very low iron, and until I get my iron infusions, um,
Um,
it just
just so just so you know,
Hmm.
welcome to the club. I have a terrible memory, so don't worry about
And
do not worry
then I'm
about it.
scatterbrained. You see, I saw you with the lighter, and it's like, oh my God, I forgot I had these to make. And I'm sure all of you guys out there, if you like doing crafts and arts and um, I don't know. With me, it's like you see, I started this bracelet, and then it's like, wait a minute, I remember I had these cutoffs. I like making hairpins for my
Yeah,
nieces, and so right now, when I saw you with the lighter, and it's like, oh my God, that's right, I have these cutouts already, and I never did finish them.
yeah, absolutely.
So um what was the most the thing about Scientology that kept you going back?
Um, just curiosity, learning about what they believe in, but also knowing full well that they were trying to, make get me to be a full member and give all my money away. I mean, they were very persuasive, you know,
Hmm.
very persuasive in what they were doing. Um, it didn't work in the end, but it was interesting trying to learn it from their perspective. Oh, sorry, from an inside perspective. There's only so much you can learn when you're
Hmm.
out. No, this is
So
not
you were
working.
undercover.
Well, not not really. I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't there for any reason other than for my own curiosity. So I wasn't undercover for anyone or any reason necessarily.
You just okay.
I was just aware of what they were going to try and do. I guess. I'm nowhere near as I was nowhere near as knowledgeable as I am now. But even still, I still knew enough to be careful. I guess is the way to explain that.
And when did this happen? How long or for how long were you doing this for?
I was only there for about 6 months or so, but this was at Saint Hill Manor in England.
Hmm.
So
How long
nice,
ago was that?
about 7 or 8 years ago now. So it's a while back, definitely a while back. But yeah, yeah, it was interesting time. I At the time my job was such that I was able to have um, plenty of hours in the day to go and do what I wanted to do, which is why I ended up
Mm.
doing that in the end. I think I learned a lot when I was there. I also learned how to stand up for myself a little bit more
Mm.
as well,
Okay.
because yeah, I mean, it's like when I left, they kept phoning me all the time. So I went in there one day and I said, "Look, this is how it's going to work. Either you're going to stop phoning me every single day, you're going to
Uh-huh.
stop contacting me, or I am going to phone the police and I'm going to phone my solicitor, and I will deal with you that way." And I then said to them, "You're going to go and get my file," which wasn't a very big file or anything. I didn't do much of their
Hmm.
training. I said, "You're going to go and get my file. You're either going to give it to me or you're going to destroy it in front of me, whichever way you prefer." So they took me down to the shredder, which is a shed basically around the back of the
Hmm.
building, and they shredded it in front of me. So yeah,
Oh wow. And they
I made
never bugged you again.
no, actually only once, but they did that by mistake, and I said to them, "Look, I'll give you this, just don't do it again." Yeah, they did it by mistake, but yeah, it was all right.
Wow. I don't know if this mail started coming to my house, and it's addressed to the old owner's son. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, I've been here for what now, 5 years? But like I started getting all these pamphlets, and and at first I was just tossing them out. I was like, I don't need them. Why are you guys sending me this stuff? But then I started reading, and I thought, I'm gonna be honest. When I went out there, I really didn't want to know too much about it. I was afraid that I might end up getting sucked in.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Totally.
I knew they were abusive. Um, and I first saw streets because I would follow streets and it would keep popping up in my feed. And Scientology, oh my God, are they still around? And I never put much thought in it. And it finally one day just popped up and it started playing. I think I might have had it like on, the feature where it continues to play from one video to the other.
Yeah.
And I saw Street and I saw LAPD. Then I saw Lara out there. And being so close to Big Blue, um, I just became very curious. Um, I I am a patient advocate, so across the street from Big Blue is Kaiser. And I had a family there that I had to go and help. And what's interesting is at Kaiser, the only hallway is made out of glass and it faces Big Blue and it's on the ICU level.
Yeah.
So I was going back and forth and I looked at over at Scientology building and I thought, wow, that's kind of like a nice building because it's the site on Sunset. And it's like, oh, that's a nice building.
Yeah.
And I had spent so much time at ICU waiting for the organ harvesting company to come out. It was a big deal with the organ harvesting company and trying to take more organs than um, the mom had authorized, and we were fighting to get possession of her daughter back, in essence. And she gave me power of attorney over her daughter. And, by the time that you call them, they come. I remember just looking over at Scientology and looking at L. Ron Hubbard Street, and it looked so nice and so clean.
Yeah.
So when Laura came out, I thought, that nice building, is that really what they're doing there? And I heard her screaming at someone. My dad is in there. I still have my father in there. And it piqued, my curiosity. But I think you took it a step further. You went
Yeah.
in there and you really wanted to see what it was about. Do you regret
No, not at all. I'm just a weirdo.
it? So what did you learn from it? What did you learn about it? Did it fascinate you? Was there something in there that you thought, okay, I can use this in real life out there?
Oh no, no, it was nothing useful. It was just interesting to understand how they try to manipulate people. Um,
Hmm.
Sorry, bear with me a second, pup. How do
Hmm.
I, bearing in mind I am using StreamYard, how do I add Sir Crepidus as a mod? I'm not sure how to. Sorry. No,
No, no,
there
go
was
ahead.
nothing useful come out of it. It's
Hmm.
just, like I say, it was more of a curiosity thing from my perspective. So yeah, I didn't learn anything from them as such. It was more a case of um, I just learned more about the manipulation side of things and how they try to
Hmm.
manipulate you. I guess. But I did go to one of the IAS events, and I saw I was fairly close to. I think I might have shook his hand, Tom Cruise, but I can't remember off the top of my head, to
Oh,
be honest.
okay.
I probably didn't, to be honest. I remember seeing him though,
But
at
he was
least.
close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was weird because during that event, they were trying to get me to sit up front, because you know how they stand up and they do all the clapping and everything else.
Mhm.
Um, sorry, hang on, Pup Groomer. Yeah, I. How do I add Sir Crepidus? Because I'm in StreamYard and I don't know how to do that from StreamYard. Can I do it from StreamYard, or do I do it from somewhere else? That's my question. Um, sorry, I am a bit useless when it
No.
comes to technology.
Mm-mm.
Do. No idea how it works.
Mm. You know more than I do. You at least have StreamYard up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's what am I doing here? I'm losing the plot. Sorry, you have to forgive me.
No.
Um,
Mm-mm.
what's going on? Yeah, we'll get there in the end. Yeah, don't worry, pup. If you go, and I'll add Sir Crepidus later on when I get an opportunity, if need to be. It's no problem at all.
Are you able to just touch the name and add him on as a mod? I don't know, like you normally do on regular YouTube?
Oh, I'm just going through the YouTube thingy now, so hopefully
Oh,
we'll get there in the end. We'll get there in the end, I
I
think.
don't think we have many people in here. How many people do we have in here?
Only three. I'm only a very tiny channel, so
Oh, okay.
I didn't expect. I don't have many viewers, but the viewers I do have are awesome. So I'm very lucky in that respect. So look here.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that I think building small, the channel small, and then building it from there is a heck of a lot better than how it went down for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm making sure I've got mods here to give you a safe space.
Thank you. Well,
'Cause-
my channel grew within the month. I had close to 2,500. Yeah, in
yeah,
less than a month. And I mean, things after things happened when I was out in Big Blue that it just brought a lot of negative energy.
yeah. It's a difficult situation. I don't really know the whole history behind it. And I must admit, I've deliberately avoided some of it because
Oh,
I, s-
I
I
don't blame
struggle.
you.
I struggle with it. I struggle with the anxiety side of thing.
Well, no,
Um,
mine just, I think it came because, going out there and having, I don't know if you know the window thing, the window issue. Window was someone we believe is a Scientologist that was put out there. And um, let's just say that he did pretty horrible things in public. And when I tried to have LAPD, have him arrested for public exposure, lewd acts, they
yeah,
wouldn't. And when I went down to headquarters, who lo and behold, he's there. He followed me, whether I don't know. So I think that there was quite a bit of, guess you can call it drama. I call it trauma in a very short time span.
Mm,
And, unfortunately, that's what attracts viewers. And I wasn't prepared for that because I was not a streaming channel. I would just support behind YouTube. I enjoyed it. I would just hop on whenever I had a chance, and I would be supporting the smaller channels and mm, Mindy and everyone. I just enjoyed quote unquote protesting from through YouTube, through seeing some of the creators. I never wanted to be a streamer until I was.
yeah.
And but I agree with you. Avoid the drama anytime you can, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm a really small channel, but I just if I have someone on, I would never want anyone to have any worry or stress about it, which is why I asked Pub specifically to make
Hmm.
sure she's here for this, and of course Socrapitus now as well. I've added
Yeah,
Socrapitus as a mod, so yeah, it's just to make sure, because I don't care if people have a go at me. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I would never want anyone else to go through that nonsense. So I'm
thank you.
more than happy to, you know, I'm
And my
struggling.
concern was for you. I
No,
think I emailed you and I was all like, "Are you sure you want to do this with me?" My
well I
concern was for you. My concern was because you see, I can take it. I deal with trauma. I deal with a- anxiety through comedy. So, sometimes I can be a little dark when it comes to the comedy, and I can be like, "Oh my God, really?" That's just the way I deal with things. And a lot of the times it's not, I'm not worried or concerned about me. I'm
mm,
worried and concerned about you.
I'm not worried. No, I'm not worried at all, because at the end of the day, if I get attacked for having you on by these people, then we just know that these people are clearly the issue here, because there's no reason to, because all we're doing is we're doing art. There's nothing political here. There's nothing
Mm-mm,
negative here.
mm-mm.
So it's all just about the art. And if they're going to attack, that's fine. Let them get on with it. You know. But
Yeah,
not when I'm here, and not when Socrapitus and Pup Groomer are
thank
around.
you.
They can attack
No,
me
Pup
anytime.
Groomer is also, yeah,
They can
yeah,
attack me
yeah.
anytime, but not when you're here. That's
Thank
the
you.
rules.
I appreciate that. No,
Yeah,
Socrates has, as you know, he's one of my mods, and he's also a dear friend. Him
yeah,
and Mrs. Crepitus, so I feel safe. Pup Groomer always, you know, has been very neutral, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it because a lot of the things that have been said are straight out lies. They're not. It's not even misunderstandings. It's not even. I can understand if oh, well, you and I, we had a misunderstanding. That's not what I said, but now we clarify it, and it's like, okay, so we just. It's not. It wasn't even that. It was straight out complete lies, and um.
yeah. Over the years, there's lots of channels that I've stopped watching because I don't agree with their views or whatever. But it is a case of stop watching. It's not a case of attack,
Mhm.
anything like that. And I wish more people thought like that.
Yeah, I do. To me, if I didn't like what somebody was doing to this person, or maybe not agree with it 100%, then just okay. Well, jump on over to the next channel. Like I stopped watching Mr. Beast a long time ago, When it first came out that he had a PDF file working for him, I was like, oh, no, 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 I don't need to watch that. But I never went on the attack. I never knew enough for it. I never cared um, to go back into his channel. And now all
He
these
what?
other
Sorry,
things with Mr. Beast. Do you know who Mr. Beast is?
I don't really watch that sort of thing very often, but I know the name and I understand that he's a YouTuber, isn't he?
Hmm.
So
So I used to watch him a long time ago, and I mean, I used to just really enjoy again the oh my god, they actually gave that away. But when there was that controversy and it came out because it has come out before, but they know how to explain it away. I was all like, oh no, I unsubscribed, went on about my business. Um, but there's people that now I can understand, but there's people that would, they're diehard fans, no matter what he does, no matter what Mr. Beast does, who he
so
abuses,
what's
who
the
he's.
what's the controversy? What's he done to upset people?
So it seems that he's had quite a few, more than one PDF files working for him. He had one. He had one that I remember him wearing a mask in his show. All of his so-called money giveaways. You know, um, how can I explain it? The shows that he did were very abusive towards the people that he actually worked with him. Keeping someone isolated for days on end. Um, so it might seem, at first it was fun stuff. Like, I remember when I first started watching him, he would just fill like a swimming pool with the little orbs, those little orbs that kind of grow with the water, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
would kind of jump in there. So it was fun stuff like that. But then things just started getting darker and darker. I think the last video, because I went back to see what was his last video, it was win X amount of money if you spend how many days in a nuclear bunk.
Yeah,
And so it's you're dealing with people that probably don't have a lot of money, and $500,000 to them is enough money to go out there and risk it. And um I don't know, I don't know, he just seems like um yeah, I don't know, if he's doing that to adults that are able to speak up. I hate to see what he's doing. And mind you, this is a kids driven show. And I call it a show instead of a channel because it's really more of a show. Um, oh, I'm a friend of yours. I'm kid friendly. Yes, kids can watch my channel, but then there was quite of abuse going on behind closed doors. Um, that you see, so I just stopped watching his channel. Now, once more and more abuse came out, then yeah, you step up your game. You talk about it. You bring it out in the open, because in his case, it seems that there is stuff going on. There is stuff that he's doing that's quite abusive. Um,
mm,
but in my case, they weren't just questioning me. They tried to come after my kid. They tried to dox my kid. And I don't know. And my channel is what it was at, close to 2,500. My channel. What was that? What was my biggest sin? My biggest sin was going out there to that encampment and trying to work the encampment. Now I do have quite a few disabilities with my back, and I couldn't be out there cooking 24/7, but I did what I could. I never did what I was accused of. I never passed it out. Um, that's something that I will continue to say until the day I die. I never passed out any drug paraphernalia. I have one of them on me? Yes, it came with the whole harm reduction kit that I went and I picked up that day at the drop-in center, you know? That's what I was
Mm.
asked to go out there. But did I pass it out? No, I know LAPD too well. Are you kidding? I've lived in LA all of my life. I know LAPD too well. And LAPD was after everybody in that encampment and that protest and that, so I knew better. Now if I had done something, I think I'm very good at owning up to what I've done wrong. And I would have owned up to it. You know what, guys? I'm sorry. I messed up. Yes, I did this, but I didn't. I did not
Some
pass out the syringes. So,
some
um,
people will, for whatever reason, they'll just stick to one thing rather than thinking about it logically. Um, I don't know. I wasn't there, but
no, of
it,
course.
it's unlike. I see it's very unlikely that you would have done anything there that's wrong. Because as you say, you've been around a long time. You know what LEPD are like. Or
Mm-hmm.
you were there to help. You were there to help, essentially help the homeless, help the people that might want to escape.
Well, that's what
But
I was asked to do. I was
exactly.
asked to go there for that specific reason. I did not agree with I never agreed with having the tents out there. Um, and I made it very clear that my participants were not for clicks and views. If I wanted to grow my channel, all I really have to do is go to downtown LA in the encampments where I normally hang out, helping out. And harm reduction is more than passing out, it's more than passing out paraphernalia or testing strips. Harm reduction is a big, huge, it's kind of like saying you're in healthcare. Well, what do you do in healthcare? Well, there's psychiatry, there's this, there's that, it's quite a big thing. And harm reduction, um, and this is something that I had requested, was to be able to provide services for people that were around Big Blue. So if
Mm,
we had a participant, or let's say a neighbor, come out and, you know what, I'm this close to becoming unhoused. Do you have any services? Be able to direct them.
mm,
Um, Out here, if you have issues paying your light bill, your water bill, there are programs that will assist. So that to me is harm reduction. It's not just about the other stuff. Harm reduction is quite a big, huge. That's what I've spoken to the Department of Mental Health here in LA, um, about. Why are you guys not preventing homelessness? Why are you guys reacting to it instead of preventing it? And I was told they never thought about it. How do you like that one? And this is
mm.
the Department of Mental Health here in LA. Um, so yeah, I don't, like, for example, to me, going out and warning the community about the cult of Scientology is harm reduction.
Mm.
I don't go out there screaming, yelling in their faces. I mean, unless there's a reason for me to do it. But I usually talk about, again, the cult of Scientology to anyone that I come across. Oh, this church? Yeah, they do horrible things. and I do it in such a way where it captivates them. For example, if I were to be speaking to you and we're in an Uber, I call an Uber because normally I go to appointments and stuff by Uber. And how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing well. How are you? Oh, and it starts off very slow. It might start off as I'll drive by Blue. Oh, do you know what's in there? No, I hear it's Scientology. Have you ever heard of it? No. Oh, I'll start telling them about a cult. And I can just bring it up very casually in a conversation. No, the cult is, there's this cult in LA, and a cult. Yeah, there's this cult, and they're quite harmful to our community. They're trying to recruit people, and well, what do they do? Well, and I'll start going into. Sometimes I'll talk about Serge's story. I'll talk about one of the second gens. Um, I'll talk about Natalie's story, and then just use very general terms that people that have never been in can understand. Instead of saying, yeah, they audit kids. Well, audit to me, I've said this many times, auditing to me sounds like I owe taxes to the IRS. It's
Yeah,
very.
you got to be able to put it into terms that most people will understand, because what you and I will
Mhm.
talk about and understand is different to what most people will understand, because you and I know what audit means in this context, whereas most people wouldn't, as you
Mhm.
say. Is it talking
Well, the
about
first time I
taxes?
heard audit, I thought, well, audit the old taxes. That's what would come to mind to me. Um,
Yeah,
so here we have a big Hispanic community. It's a very big south of Big Blue. It's a very big Central American community.
yeah,
Um, so some of them are Catholic, not all of them. Usually it's Christianity. It's usually Jehovah Witnesses. They have quite a variety of religions. So I might start off with, yes, they're confessing children, and then that grabs their attention, and it's like, again, I'll start using terms that um, as Latinos would understand. And depending again, who I'm speaking with depends on what I say to them. So if I know that, um, if it's an older woman, and I see a little cross or I see the Virgin Mary, then that tells me that she's Catholic. So I'll start using terms that we used in the Catholic religion. Then she'll understand. And then, confessions, and they confess the children, but this time it's the children being acting as the priest, because that would be something they would understand.
yeah. I totally,
And
totally get that.
and then we'll take it from there. And it's just, before you know it, it's like, oh my God, really? Oh no, I will never go. Or around Big Blue, they're like, well, we've heard that in that building, once you go into that religion, you can never leave. And sometimes they have even killed people. And the way they say it is like, yeah, like a secret. Um, yeah, we've heard that they once you go in there, you're not gonna come out. I pretty much
So,
tell them that they're right. You know what? I
yeah.
think I'm gonna make these into some earrings. I think I like them more for. I'm telling you, my brain is all over the place. Sorry.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm the same most of the time. I have autism. I have anxiety. I have dyslexia. I have all sorts of weird
Mm,
and wonderful things going on in my brain. And I think I think I must have been dropped on a head as a child because my memory's terrible all the time. I mean,
No.
knowing my mum, probably not, but it's what it feels like. So
Well, I
Clever. Oh, by the way, hello, Maya. I did see you come in earlier. Maya, the art supply hoarder, is here. Becky, do you know?
who's
You know Maya?
mayor? The art
Maya.
supply order?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Maya.
Maya.
Maya. Yes, sorry, my I keep getting that wrong. I keep pronouncing it incorrectly, so I'm going to get told off eventually. But Maya is here. Yeah.
No, your English is just more proper than mine. Maya. Um, we have a saying in Spanish. Um, Tú nomás hablas por no rebuznar. And my dad used to say that. So it would mean like you only speak. So how can I say rebuznar in English? You know the sound a donkey makes?
Yeah.
So when my dad would be very upset at someone that was just talking, he would tell him, you only talk so that you don't sound like a donkey. In other words, so you're pretty much a jackass. You're just a speaking jackass. My dad
Your
had the best sayings. I
your
love
your
my dad.
your parents sound amazing. To be fair.
My parents, I still have my mom. She has advanced Alzheimer's, and it's something that's very difficult. They call it the long goodbye. And it's something that we struggle with quite a bit.
Mm.
You see her there, you want to protect her, you want to take her home. She had a fall last year, and we didn't have a choice but to put her in a rehab center.
Mhm.
And as a Latino family, it's like you just don't do that to your parents. So it's been an uphill battle, Um, the day that I met Eric Rader, I was actually coming home. I was coming from my mom, and it was on
Yeah.
Easter, and I was just, the whole Eric Rader thing, listening to him. Just we used to have big, huge Easter parties, and now I'm the only one visiting her that day. My sister was gonna come after me, and I was listening to Eric Rader, and I told my husband I'm driving, and I went and I gave Eric his first super chat. It was, I think, his first day out there, and he just sounded so hurt. So I met that day. I met Streets. Um, I met a bunch of people out there. Laura. I met Laura. I met quite a few people, and um, yeah.
It's a bit strange for me because I watch all this stuff online, and
Hmm.
I don't get a chance to watch everything, of course. But y- you are standing out there next to the people that I'm watching all the time, and it- it's really strange because I almost feel as if I'm out there sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I was a chatter first, and I always supported quite a few of the streamers. I've always been very supportive of the streamers online. So, I would give memberships. I've always given memberships, and I would always I would be a member. Um, I've always done that with the community. Again, I was watching it online, which was very different. And because it was so close, um, I always thought that Streets was awesome. He was a 1A audit or auditing the LAPD, and I've had quite a few issues with LAPD. So to me, he was like, oh my God, he was. fantastic. Oh, hell yeah, you tell them, and kind of a deal. Um,
It is
you guys,
actually
I don't
really.
think I'm gonna come up with a finished design because I keep coming up with different things. This is my brain processing stuff. I'm not as good as you. You look at you. How many bracelets have you already done?
Well, this is the second one, but you see, the first one here is like a sort of fairly standard sort of design. But
Hmm.
what I've done with this second one is I've done it slightly differently. If you can see,
Oh, that's a spiral. Is it kind of like when with a like a friendship bracelet type of a pattern?
well, I don't know. It's just it's kind of a spiral, but the reason it's a spiral is because when you're doing something like this, you are
Mm-hmm.
you're doing one thing one way, and then you're doing the next one the other
Uh-huh.
way, and then you keep swapping
Correct.
over. With this one, you're just doing it always to the left or always to the right, and then you get that spiral effect. If that
Kind of
makes
like
sense.
macrame, no?
Potentially, I've never done macrame, but yeah, it could be like that.
That's what I had macrame, some macrame stuff around here, but I don't use the macrame material. I use like a satin, um like a satin, what is it called, rope. So I
Hmm.
don't use the natural cotton material. I'm telling you, how in the world did I drop my? Oh no, I broke my pottery. Oh, when I dropped
You're
the.
destroying the house, are you?
Well, I built my she shed. I built the shed when I just needed to get away. I just had to get away from. I just had to find a place where I can escape. And because I suffer from horrible insomnia, um, this was my way of getting out of the house without getting out of the house. I'm outside in the garden. I needed to be outside. And if I was going to spend 2 and 3 days without sleeping, I'd rather be in here. So I have my Dremel. I have all of my power tools. I have my sewing machine. So when I come in here to escape my reality out there. Um, I do the wood carving. What you're seeing right now is usually what happens in the middle of the night, and before you know it, I'll eventually figure out what I really want to do and actually finish something. Um, but it does take me a long time. My ADHD is all over the place. And I think the only time that it calms down is when I'm actually doing beadwork. But because
Mm.
I didn't start a project for today for me to really sit down and say, okay, I now have this pattern. Um, I do a lot of things in here. Um, when people are getting married, the pew bows. I'm always
Hmm.
asked to make those pew bows, so um, I'll sit in here and I'll get creative, and eventually I'll come up with like a design for them. And my brain is just all over the place. It probably doesn't make much sense to you, and I'm probably one of
No,
your worst guests.
no, I wouldn't say that at all. You're actually one of my favorites.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
definitely, you're amazing. Um, don't put
Oh,
yourself
thank you.
don't put yourself down. The thing is, we all have issues with memory and what have you anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. Mine's usually terrible, my memory, so um okay, so I have done the second one
Let me
now, Sir,
see.
Sir Crepidus. Okay, look at that.
You want a room? Okay. I
I
like
think
that.
I think I'm going to have Sir Crepidus on so I can teach him how to make these.
You're very interesting to me.
I'm very interesting to a lot of people until they really get to know me, and then they think, "Oh, he's just a weirdo," but that's okay.
Mm,
So I got. I will
no.
show you. I'll show you these. I made a few more of these over the,
Let me
you know,
see.
some time ago. So this one, I'll come back to that. Hang on. So this one is two that I weave together at the same time. So if you can imagine, I did two standard ones like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But whilst I was doing that, I had another piece of paracord which I was weaving
Mm-hmm.
in the middle.
In the
So
middle.
yeah. So essentially, I've made two out of. Um, so I've basically sewn two together and made it that way. And then you can add all sorts. You can add. I've had some bolts to this one for some reason. I don't know why. I don't really like it particularly much, but it's there.
Let me see.
It's
Put it closer to the camera. Let me see that one.
hang
Why
on, hang
don't
on,
you
hang on.
like it?
Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. You see that?
I like it.
Yeah. So I've added bolts into there, but it's hang on. Yeah, I don't like it, but and then you got same sort of principle, but just different colors, really, different variations. But then this one, okay, this one
It's more
is,
like a cup one.
you see how I've got two
Mm-hmm.
clasps on it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this one this one was very difficult to do because if you can imagine, you've got four bracelets like this, all
Mm-hmm.
being done at the same time, and in three separate places, you're sewing it together with additional cord.
Paracord.
So you've got four, seven,
Cords.
seven sets
Mm-hmm.
of strings. So it's
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
14 lengths that you've
Oh
got to
wow.
keep track of constantly. So that was done simply because I just wanted to see if I could do it, and
And you did it.
I did. It was a bit of a
It's a
nightmare,
cup bracelet. That's a lot like beading.
but I didn't do this and then sew them together. I did
No,
it
no,
all at
you
the
were
same
doing it
time.
at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, with 14 different chords.
And the way you do that is with one of these things. So,
Ah, okay, that's
so
interesting.
I made this by hand. As you can see, it's
Yeah,
very, very crude. But essentially, what
but
you
that's the
do,
best way.
yeah. So what you would do in this case is you get it to the length that you want it to be, and then
Mm-hmm.
get yourself a set of clips. In this case, they fit
Mm-hmm.
to here. Okay, so it would fit on
That's
there, and
brilliant.
okay, and then you know then that the gap is going to be correct. So
Mm-hmm.
then you lay your structure chords or the bits in the middle,
The chords,
essentially.
yes.
Yeah, you lay
Mm-hmm.
those between here. And in the case of the one that's extra wide, I would have had two of these on here, and then I would have had sat there at the table with it like this, essentially, and I
Mm-hmm.
would have been
Like
working
a
with,
loom.
yeah, I guess so. And then I'd have it in there like that. I would have it attached in there like that, and then I would work through, like I say, 14 bits of cord or 14 lengths of cord, and
Mm-hmm.
I would do it like that. Um,
How
that
long
took
did it
me
take you?
about an hour, maybe less,
Okay.
but by that time I'd been making these things for a little while, so I was quite experienced at it. But yeah, it's more of an experiment than anything else. It's a bit of a pointless exercise, but when you wear it, it looks quite nice, if you can imagine.
I like that one. That's like a cuff, well, a cuff bracelet. I've
Yeah.
made cuff bracelets with. Now let me show you the little beads that I normally work with. And so what you're telling me makes perfect sense in my brain. I, my brain somehow understands that. I'm a visual learner, so when I see you doing that, it's where are my beads? You see, I'm so unorganized. And I thought, self, you need to go in there and organize for what your project is going to be, and then welcome to my reality.
Yeah, like I say, I messed up the timings a bit, so we ended up. You were expecting it to be in the morning tomorrow,
No.
weren't you, or in the evening tomorrow?
Well, you see, these are tiny little beads,
Yeah, go
and
on.
each bead that you use is a stitch. So you stitch each little bead individual. So it would be kind of what you're doing, but with the needle and then adding some beads. I would love to learn how you do that. And only I would be adding a bead because that's just me.
Well,
But
adding beads isn't a problem. I actually see in the middle there. You see these
mhm.
straps
Mhm.
across. You
Mhm.
can add. I've got packs of beads, and I've also got packs of like metal skulls and things like that. You can add it onto here.
So yeah, it's just like beading. You see?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
see the
But
tiny
you can
little bead?
also, I say, using these needles here.
Mhm.
They're like heavy gauge needles. You can um, you can get these for different thicknesses of paracord, but these needles
Mhm.
here, you can sew in different colors as well into here. So you can add lines of different colors. You can add all sorts to them. You can actually make as well a survival bracelet, and it has things like fishing wire and fishing hooks, and it has obviously the compass and the striker there, the survival whistle, and it has all sorts of weird and wonderful things in there which you could use for survival. Um, yeah, there's so much you can do with paracord, and it's not just bracelets, of course. There's all sorts of stuff in there you can do. But if you want, one time we can do a session together. Um, I don't know if
I
you've
would
got any
love
cord.
that. You would just have to email me what materials I need.
Yeah, I can send you send you an email with so you would just need to get some paracord basically like this. And it's not that expensive.
Mhm.
It really depends. I mean, I've got stuff which is genuine paracord which is used in real life parachutes, and that's very expensive for obvious reasons because it's made out of very high quality materials and it's done to a very high standard. And then I've got this other stuff which is a lot cheaper, but it just looks different, you know.
It
um
looks
so
nice.
you Yeah, you can I make worms as well. I like making worms, so that's a worm. It doesn't have any
Hmm.
purpose other than to scare my girlfriend when I put it under her pillow.
You can make that into a keychain.
Yeah, I make keychains as well. Absolutely. Making a keychain is extremely simple. So I can
Mhm.
make a keychain now. I'll show you how simple it is, okay? So you'll so yeah, okay.
Now that's also paracord, or is that leather?
This, no, this is paracord, okay?
Okay.
So get your timer out and you'll see how simple it is to make a keychain, all right?
Mhm.
We start by getting the first one there. Okay. Okay. So now we just keep doing that process. and we just keep working it like that. So yeah, and so basically you can make a keychain as simple as just that, okay, if you want to. But if you just continue that down, then you have the loop at the end already, okay, and then all you do is you just cut the ends off, and then you just add your so you just burn the ends, the tips slightly, or melt the tips slightly, and then you've got instant keychain. Very, very simple and easy to make. But you can, like I say, you can incorporate your beads into there. You can add other things into there. You can do whatever you feel that you want to do. You can make countless things with paracord. It's absolutely such an amazing material. Material, whatever you want to call it, to play with. You know, it can do so much with it. But I'll make this into a keychain, I think now. I was going to call it at 2 hours. If you want to hang on for a little bit longer, or unless you're ready to.
I'll hang out with you. I have no place to go.
Okay, well, we'll call it at 2 hours. So that's in about 20 minutes or so. But so I'll make a bracelet now. Sorry, a lanyard. So yeah, when I get some, when I have some money, I've got my Amazon wish list, and I've put on there things like goldenrod paracord. Okay, so when I get that, I'm going to make keychains like this, and then I'm going to be making lots of bracelets, and then people can have those. I'll send them out to various people. I think.
And it's on your Amazon wish list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got that because it's all the stuff that I want to buy. It's just I don't have a huge amount of money at the moment, so it's all there ready to go. I just need to buy these things as and when I have the opportunity, if that makes sense. So there we go. You're really paying attention here. I can tell.
I am. I'm really interested in it.
Okay.
It's the way you're working it.
Okay, so this one here, you see the one that's
Okay.
facing forward, facing you, facing the camera, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, that one goes behind.
Okay.
Yeah. This one
Yes.
underneath.
Okay, so that goes under the tail.
Under. Yeah.
And
And
then
then it goes through
it.
that way.
Okay.
All right.
No, I'll turn it off when I go. Okay. Yeah. Okay, love you. Sorry.
That's all right. So
And then you do the same thing on the reverse. That goes
same
under.
thing the opposite way. Yeah. So it's under there. Okay. Then that goes under there, like that.
Under the tail.
So it goes
And
through.
the loop.
Okay. Now, this is only the very most basic way of doing it. If you go online, there's so many YouTube videos of people, and there's websites dedicated to this, where you can learn how to do all these some really amazing patterns. I tend just to stick to this way because I'm used to it, and I just do it without thinking.
Wait, how did you do that side? Did that go the opposite direction? Hold on. Let me see you do that again.
So one facing the camera,
so
facing towards you.
Facing,
see the bit kind of sticking out, but it's kind of at an angle that it's facing more towards you than the other one.
Yeah. Okay. I see it.
That goes behind and
behind it. Okay. Are you always working behind that middle cord?
Yeah. So you got the main the center there, and then you Sorry, I'm just
under.
going to try and sort this camera so it's not flickering so
No,
much. There
I
you go.
see it. It's
Okay. So you got this one
okay.
goes
Mm-hmm. Under the tail
and
and through
through.
there.
Okay.
So it's like tying your shoe,
Similar. Yeah.
kind of.
Okay. And then what happens then is that one that's facing forward is now on this side.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go like that, under,
Okay.
yeah, through.
Mm-hmm.
Now this way,
Oh.
see this one
Mm-hmm.
here, the twisted one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All I've done there is just stick to the same side every time. That's it. It's the
So
only
it
difference.
keeps twisting and twisting it. So
That's it.
you're just going the same way over and over again.
Yeah. So if I was to do this, all I would be doing is this side here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's two ways you can think about it. You can do it the same way,
Mm-hmm.
or you can turn this over every single time and always, always do the one that's pointing out. It's entirely up to you. But essentially, what you're doing is you're doing it on the same side every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So behind and through.
Under and through.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for some reason, my brain just understands it.
It's not difficult once you get used to it. It really isn't. So it gets a bit tight when you get down towards the end, as you can imagine. But once you're used to it, it's pretty easy. So that goes under,
Under and over and
yeah,
through it.
and through. Okay. I taught
You
my
need to
nieces
make a
how to.
tutorial.
No, there's so many amazing tutorials online. You don't need me to do it, but um,
You have a soothing voice, though. You have a very soothing voice.
I wouldn't go that far.
You do.
So now what I would do is cut the end off. So you've got about you would say quarter of an inch, I think, over in the States, and what have you. Take the end off there. Okay, so you've got a little bit stuck out. And because you've pulled them nice and tight, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not just going to unravel suddenly unless you start pulling it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all you do is try not to burn it if you can help it. But essentially, what you're doing is you're just melting the plastic now,
Mm-hmm.
because it is
I
made
know
out
what
of
I did to the yeah. I
it's
see.
kind of a nylon type material. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then once it's melted, essentially what it does is it glues itself to the other cords. It goes black sometimes. It really
Mm-hmm.
depends on. If you look in the middle, the core is black in this particular one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you see that? The core
I
is
see
black.
that.
So it really depends on how you want to do it, because what you can do is you can pull back the outer layer, cut the core out, and then
I see.
sort of melt it. But then you get a bit closer. There's loads of ways you can do it basically, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't always do it the right way, to be honest. I'm a little bit lazy. But what you can also do is you can add multiple colors. So what I mean by that is there you go, simple, done. Okay, so you can now
Mm-hmm.
add that to your key ring or whatever it is you want to do. Job done.
I see. You know what? I really like your idea of the survival bracelet. That
Yeah.
fascinates me.
So to make that,
Mm-hmm.
I've never done one. I've kind of done one, but not to the extent it's possible.
Mm.
Oh, you'll like this one. You'll like this.
Maya.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Maya's comment. It does look easy and
So, Maya, what I would say to you is get some cord if you want, paracord,
Maya, let's learn it together.
and then both of you come on with Sir Crepidus as well.
We'll
Because
have an online class. When do you want to
well,
do this so that
you
I
can
can
do
go
an
and
on
buy the stuff?
you can do an online class. What I'll do is I'll put a community post up short in a short while, and
Mm-hmm.
with all the detail you need, and then you'll be able
Okay.
to do that. And I can do an online class, and do you know what? It's not difficult, and once you realize how to do it, it's like, ooh, that's awesome. And do you know what I do? I just take because of my autism and because of my anxiety and everything else, I just take out a few meters of this with me wherever I go, always in my
Mm-hmm.
pocket, and I'll just make things. I'll make something like this, and then I'll take it apart and then remake it, and then take it apart and remake it. You know,
Now
so
you were diagnosed of being in the spectrum.
I'm autistic, yeah, high
Hmm.
functioning, whatever that means.
Well,
So
no, I have a nephew that's in the spectrum and very high functioning. But he has what we call little quirks to him. It doesn't, and I think most people have, um, like for example, I have ADHD, and learning was very difficult. I had to be a very visual. I'm a very visual learner,
yeah,
so in order for me to know fractions, the teacher wasn't able to explain it to me, but I would look at the clock and I would just like, okay, that makes sense. And so I think we all have our little quirks on how we, I don't know, how we learn, how we go through life, how we.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
like that color too. I really like that color. Um,
Yeah, the
Look at
sandy
that.
color. So
Yes,
no,
I like the sandy color. What color is that? Like a hunter green?
this is, I guess you could call this like a an olive sandy color, really.
Okay.
But one of the other things you can do with these bracelets, these ones that I make like
Mhm.
this, you can
Mhm.
go like this. See, can be a bit difficult to do if you make them. Okay, I can't do it with this specific one, and the reason is
Mhm.
I've made this one too tight. But
Mhm.
if you make them loose like this one, which is easy to
Mhm.
do, just don't pull it as tight. What you're able to do is slip all of this cord straight off the end here, and then unwind it, and you've got 2 meters of paracord just sitting there waiting for you. Which,
For
of
you to
course,
use.
yeah, which of course, if you're out in the fields, you cordage is the most one of the most important things you can imagine. Um, I've actually got all sorts of things that I clip like 10 meters of paracord that I've woven into a pattern around, like, and made it into almost like a ball type thing, and then just clip it there, and then you just clip it onto your backpack or something like that. So you've got like 10 meters.
Have you ever used it? Have you ever found a need to use them?
I mean, if I go camping or something, then yeah, I mean, often like
Mhm.
washing lines, for example. If we're doing a bit of washing, you want to dry something, you just put a bit of paracord up, and then you've got an instant washing line, for example. There's loads of things you can do. Loads of things you can do. But what I'm
You
actually going to
you know why it fascinates me so much? And I don't know if it's the trauma that some of us have gone through, but I'm always hyper vigilant. And I mean, I can think of 101 ways to use that. Um,
hypervigilance.
I
I have
always
that.
carry, yeah, I always carry a pin in my hair. Oh,
Yeah,
if I'm out and about, I always carry a sharp pin in my hair because that's how I've had to defend myself at times.
yeah,
And so I see your bracelet. That's something that's useful, You never know. I mean, I don't know. My mom always, my dad was always, my mom and dad were always very prepared. My mother would carry safety pins in her and on her clothing, and I find that I do the same thing.
I mean, I always carry. I've got a little backpack, and it's all full of everything you can imagine. Okay, I carry
Hmm.
way too much stuff, but I
Heavy.
don't. I like to be prepared. Yeah, I have vigilance as well. I suffer from that in a big way. And with regards to the paracord, yes, you can make so many things, so many things. I'll send you a few links a bit later so you can have a look for yourself. But yeah, essentially you can make anything out of these things. They're incredible. Um, the world
Do
is your
you
oyster.
find it that you make it more to be prepared out and about? Like you said, a survivalist? Is that how or is it just more of a fidgety? I think it covers quite a few things. The fidgeting, always having to constantly be fidgeting. I find myself that I'm constantly fidgeting. I'm either knitting, making bracelets, doing something.
Mm.
Yes, Maya, you too? Okay, okay. I thought my brain was just, pardon me, I thought my brain was just too effed up. And
No,
I got
no, it's not.
my, yes. Hmm. Like I can't have my back exposed. I'm very sensitive. Your purse is so heavy. Yes, yes, we do. And you know what? I carry my son calls me the bag lady because I carry my backpack. I carry my little stashed wallet, whatever you want to call it, and then I carry in my car. I always have my car is always better. Is that your survival kit?
This is just one little bag that I have on my backpack.
Hmm. Oh my God, that's awesome. Chapstick,
Uh, cord, paracord,
your paracord.
lighter. There's a neodymium magnet in there. There's a magnet extender. There's a knife, UK legal knife, I should say, just in case anyone's wondering. Um, there's a notebook in there. There's cable ties. There's a torch, a whistle.
Hmm.
All sorts of weird and wonderful things. And that's just one of many sort of things that I carry. But you'll see that I always carry tape as well with me. Yeah, I've
Hmm.
got way too much stuff in that little bag.
I,
Way too much
I
stuff.
think it has something to do with how we actually survived things. And I don't know. I've been in situations where we may need to bring fanny packs back into fashion. Oh no, not never fanny packs or crepit.
No,
That's
no.
taking it too far.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, Sir Crepidus carried my backpack. He carried my backpack in. He can tell you that my backpack. And that day, I took quite a bit of the stuff out because I'm like, oh my God, this is so heavy. I don't need it where I'm going. But my backpack, I will usually have a knife. I will usually have my battery pack. I always carry my battery pack because I never want to be um, without my phone charged. And that's happened because my phone has been at 5%. And when I've needed it in a true emergency, when I was getting attacked, I couldn't record the guy, but I was able to take. Yes, I have my dad's. I have one of those, the Swiss knives, right?
Yeah. See? Paracord
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. This is a Swiss Army knife. This is the Swiss champ.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best one as
Mm-hmm.
far as I'm concerned. It's a lot more expensive than the others, but it's better than the others in my view. So yeah, I have stuff like that. I have a Leatherman that I use as well. I've got way too much stuff in my bag, To be fair,
Have you ever had to just, but have you ever had to just pull something and you were happy that you had it in there versus I wish I would have had it?
all the time, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
In that little pouch I just showed you, for example,
Mm-hmm.
um, last week I fixed the forklift at work with something I had in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I know, I
No,
know.
you know why I'm laughing? Because we were out and about today and we were over at a friend's house and you know the door, the hinge,
Yeah.
it needed two screws on the hinge. And he says
Hmm.
I have to go out and buy the screws. And I pulled them out of my backpack. I said, I'll fix
Yeah.
it for you.
I
And I
don't
just
carry
fixed it.
screws, but I use it. I
I
have
carry screws, I
screwdrivers.
carry everything. You just and don't think that I carry a whole thing of screws. I don't even know how they ended up in there, but I just left them bobby pins, safety pins. Now
This,
that's your emergency kit?
this is my first aid kit.
Yeah, first aid kit.
Just my first
Yeah.
aid kit. Um, yeah, I like to say I carry way too much stuff, but
No, there. Yeah, I think when you and I don't know your history, but if you've ever been in a situation where you're fighting for your life, you are defending yourself or defending someone else, um, you're just always. I don't know. With
it's
me, like I said, one of my things is my hairpins, and I normally carve my own. I carve my own, but I just haven't been able to do it. And this is a hat pin, and
yeah.
I just twist it around my hair.
Mm. In
A tourniquet. Well, yes, you have a tourniquet. I carry a tourniquet, not a tourniquet. I carry uh the safety for the when you're doing mouth to mouth, the
yeah,
guard,
yeah,
the mouth guard.
yeah. I have those as well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
This has been fascinating. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
I'm full of weird and wonderful things. See, I've got paracord on this as well.
So
This is a jeweler's magnifying glass.
you're able to make fire with that, no?
Yeah, you can make
At
fire
least
with
we
it.
used to.
I use it to look at bugs and things. A bit strange like that, but that's in my bag as well. Like I say, I've just
Do you ever just stop and look at spiders? That's my biggest fascination.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
spiders.
Actually, strangely enough, at 3 o'clock this morning, just about 25 minutes. In fact, no, 3:30, 3:40. About 25 minutes before I woke up for this, um, I woke up to a spider crawling across my face. Yeah,
Good luck. No,
yeah,
that's a good luck. I get fascinated with spiders. I get fascinated with caterpillars. We used to hold caterpillar races with my little sister.
yeah.
Um,
I picked it up off the covers and I walked it and put it outside.
outside,
Um,
right? You don't ever kill spiders, right?
I try never to kill anything if I can help it. I picked up a
Hmm.
slug the other day and moved it
Hmm.
off the concrete because it was going to get run over by a forklift. So
Oh wow. Well, when I because of so many, I don't ever use pesticide on in my plants. I use all natural stuff. So for slugs, so that they will be off of my tomato plants, I
yeah,
crush the eggshells and
yeah,
I put it
I do too.
around it. And then for ants, ants during the summer, I just go and I fill every little crack around the house, around the doorway. If it's in the kitchen, I use cinnamon. Ants don't like cinnamon. They also don't like baby powder. And I don't
Ah,
want to be breathing all that toxic stuff either, because if it's going to kill your bug, it might kill me too eventually. So I don't like putting all of that pesticide around my house. I always try to find something natural
yeah.
for safe
Maya,
stuff in your time.
when I was in when I went to Northern Ireland, Maya, I was trained as a team medic. So that's where my sort of interest in health and first aid came. But of course, when I
I
say
worked in
chief medic,
healthcare.
doesn't mean I was, like a paramedic level or anything
No,
like that.
no,
But
no, no, no.
it was interesting, definitely. Right,
Well, thank
I
you
am
so
gonna
much.
I'm gonna eat some food and then I'm gonna go back to bed. I think for
Okay,
now.
well, I thank you so much for doing this. And again, sorry guys, I didn't get to do anything. Next time I'll show you guys. Um, Let me know when you want to hold this so that I can prepare myself and buy the paracord because now I'm really in. Where do you get the clips? Online as well?
Yeah, I can. What I'll do is I'll. Have you got an email address attached to your?
Yeah, you were emailing me.
Oh, if you email me, I'll email you back with some
Hmm.
links, and then you
Okay.
can sort of take it from there. But yeah, you can buy Paracord online. I've got it on my list. I'm going to be getting some um, goldenrod at some point, and then I'll be happy to teach you. And then obviously, Sir Crepidus, reach out to me if you're interested in doing the same, and Maya as well. If you're interested, reach out to me, and then we can do that. But yeah, you can buy the stuff online easily. It's not particularly expensive, and
Yeah.
what you'll find is if you get yourself a roll like this, 100 meters, this will last you
Hmm.
for a very, very long time, unless you're going to be using it constantly.
They sell that in downtown LA, the
Yeah.
paracord.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have
Absolutely.
the, yeah, yeah.
You could probably buy
Well,
it.
we have warehouses here. We have warehouses here in downtown LA
Yep.
where so I'm sure that would be very easy to obtain.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure you can get hold of it. But there's different grades of paracord as well. You can get different thicknesses, different qualities, but general quality is fine. You know, you don't need to worry too much about it. Um, Definitely come back on again.
Thank
If
you
you
so much for
amazing to have
having
you.
me.
You're a delight. You really are.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we will be emailing each other. Now I'm very interested and now I get to have more stuff in my collection.
Thank
Another hobby. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
I
Bye,
just
guys.
I'd say thank you
Hmm.
everyone for being here and supporting us, especially you, Sir Crepidus, for being here to make
Yes.
sure that this is a safe space, which it has
Thank
been
you.
fantastic. So,
Oh,
awesome.
there's DOA Safra. There you are. Sorry, guys. I could not see the comments until now. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Sir Crepitus, for everything. And I know Pup had to probably go.
Yeah, she's
But
she's
thank
doing a
you guys.
live.
Yeah,
So
she was doing her life.
I'm gonna go onto her live now, and I'm gonna do
Okay.
my best to wind her up. So that'll be awesome.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, guys. You guys have a fantastic, well, you have a fantastic morning. Bye, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take
Take it
care.
easy. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.